How's it going everybody, Kaitro's here, and it's been a long time since I last made my previous video. It's been a hectic week for me, but I've been trying something new with live streaming and making polls for discussions about the updates in the game to kind of fill in the gap. At the end of the video, I'll share some games I'm playing currently and looking forward to, so if you're interested, stay tuned for that. Let me quickly start with the question of this video: should you pull for Narja? I know it's a bit late, but based on her kit and future content, I felt the need to share my own thoughts about her. So off the bat, she's a strong pull and I would personally get at least one copy. So I got this answer based on the current content that we have and the future content that we're getting, plus my own experiences with her with Vanguards in general. Currently, we have Chaos runs, Basin, weekly challenges, and the new Spiral Tower of Screams content. As always, Gacha Games like to shield the current banner with special buff to make them seem stronger than usual. This time it's simply giving us an increased defense-based damage, so take that into consideration. Despite the boost, there isn't any hard content that urgently needs her. Of all the content we have access to, Spiral Tower currently is the only challenging content. This new tower introduces 150 waves where one weekly challenge tackles 5 waves at a time, and this means that there are only 30 levels in total. And since we get 5 attempts a week, we will need to have 6 weeks to clear all 150 waves. So a few interesting things to point out about this event. Firstly, it is currently in beta and we only have access until floor 50 for the next couple of weeks. So the hardest content we need to clear right now is only floor 50. And remember that special buff? In 2 weeks, this buff will probably change to better suit 9 when she releases. And speaking of 9, I think she will likely be a Passion Vanguard, simply because we do not have a Passion unit yet. And I can't see her being any other class except maybe Striker, but we would have too many of those already. If she does come out as a Vanguard, we might continue seeing a defense buff to our content. In fact, the devs teased us by mentioning counterattack and Magna specifically when talking about the Spiral Tower content in the roadmap video, so we might see an importance on defense-based units, especially in Magna on higher floors. In fact, 9 could very well have some kind of counterattack synergy with Magna. So because you only need one team of 3 characters to enter the tower, you can clear this content with ease with what you currently have. For example, other than the obvious Serenio, some of us would have Maylin built from before season 1, or even the shelved barrel unlimited firepower builds that were really popular back then would work. The best thing about this tower is that it doesn't require seasonal save files, so when it launches with season 2, we can still use whatever old save files that we have. Even the other content is very easy to clear without Narja. I could clear basic content on full auto with just my E0 Serenio. The thing is, the nature of Serenio is that she can create a lot of cards, and so she can get it done within 2 to 3 turns, giving my second team about 8 to 10 turns to clear that side. So it doesn't matter what my second team is anymore with Serenio in the first half. And because of this, Narja seems less needed now for you to spend your pools on her. Here's another reason to hesitate on Narja. As new characters is released, we might eventually reach a point where we have to choose between defense-based DPS and normal attack DPS. As of currently, there isn't that many characters, so I don't think it matters enough. From my own experience before season 1 and before Chizuru, I was mainly playing defense-based Vanguards thanks to getting E6 Almir. My resources were split between getting attack set gear for Veronica and defense set gear for Calipe. So eventually, if the roster grows, free-to-play players might have to commit to one direction or the other just because of the limited resources that we have, that we can't fully upgrade all of the potentials of every single character. So at that point, we have to take into consideration the synergies that we have for our current roster. So why is she actually worth it? The biggest reason is that currently she has a lot of unique card epiphanies, but that wouldn't matter anymore when copy events in the future becomes selectors. We'll get selectors for copy events, but whether this update will come out as a beta or be ready for season 2 remains to be seen. For now though, she's useful for making a save file, but in 2 weeks we're gonna be farming everything again anyway. It's just gonna be a lot easier. The second reason is we rarely get controllers, and you would notice by now that most of the time we're running 2 supports plus 1 DPS character. Damage buffers are crucial for endgame content, so we're always looking for morale buffs or using Ray to improve our damage. Cassius is most likely going to get nerf or balance adjustments in season 2, so having her just as an alternative would be extremely useful. In the future, we might have to use 3 different teams, so she could be a buffer unit in one of those teams. Now, the biggest reason is what Narja actually solves. So I had E6 Elmir at launch and I eventually moved away from Vanguards because it was very punishing. When I was playing a full Vanguard team in Chaos runs, I had to use a shield card to block a hit, or else I would have to find a campsite to heal up. With heals, you could just heal anytime whenever, but with shields, you have to make sure you don't eat the attacks. So you're forced into defensive play, which isn't really my favorite playstyle because it goes against you in Chaos runs where each turn builds up more stress. Poison is also another issue where you may face its enemy that debuffs your cards with a poison tag. Using those cards without a shield would take health damage, and even with a heal card, I noticed that I wasn't out healing the damage it does, which further shows how dangerous that poison debuff was for Vanguard team. That's why I recommended Mika or Ray with Calibre in my other video for team synergies in Chaos runs. With Narja, she really solves this issue by giving us Ferocity that heals us per hit. She also buffs Vanguards a lot by enabling them to do so much more. It's honestly really exciting to see Amir be able to do crazy damage a lot easier now. Narja is also the first non-Vanguard to have defense-based damage too, which makes her very unique. Considering that controllers have more defense stats, it makes her very strong even as a DPS. So Spire Tower is kinda hard at floor 45 onwards. So I haven't done this yet because I was autoing it to see how far I can get with Serenio. The reason why it stops here is because the auto function is using cards. So every homing lasers that Serenio is using is causing them to attack me back, and therefore I was just dying to that. So this was for the auto, but other than that, I could see survivability with shooting and healing becoming extremely important as enemies get stronger and hit harder in the future. Narja might just help solve that problem by providing both shooting and healing, or even making the Vanguards even stronger, and Vanguards are known for shooting. So in the end, I would say you could skip Narja since she will be in the standard banner and you can get her anytime. Especially since you may not have bothered with Vanguards, because majority of the Vanguards right now, aside from Felipe, I would think that a lot of people haven't really spent their resources on these Vanguards yet, like Maribel, Amir, or Magna. So if you haven't really spent resources on Vanguard, I don't think it's really necessary for you to have them. And it's hard to say how important shooting would be past floor 50, but current content doesn't really require. It's a lot of wait and see, and currently Serenio or Maylin can still carry. So the worst thing that could happen is that Season 2 balance changes, nerfs every character. And I feel the devs are slowly nerfing Serenio by limiting the card creation to 12. Serenio isn't the only character that's limited by this, and it's honestly quite funny that this is how they choose to nerf strong characters. But otherwise, I would pull for her because it's fun trying out new builds and new characters. So that's it for my thoughts on Narja. It's been, what, 6-7 days since her release now, so I would love to hear what are your opinions on her as well. Do you agree with my thoughts on her, or maybe you have some other takes on her? I would love to hear all of that in the comments down below. Currently, I'm working on a new build with Amir and Narja. I'm also playing this cozy Animal Crossing gacha game called Heartopia, which is a total opposite from this Guna game. I am also waiting for Art Knight's Enfield, which I know nothing about it, and I'm going in completely blind. There is another cutesy game called Anemo, which CBT2 is coming the day after Arknights, so that will be fun. I will probably be streaming those on those days. There is no pressure for you guys to join, but if you guys want to chill, hang out, talk about the games, I would love to do that. And I'll see you guys soon.